You did not choose what you believe. It was selected for you. In 2021, internal Facebook research later reviewed by the Wall Street Journal as part of the Facebook files concluded that the platform's recommendation algorithm was responsible for 64% of the extremist group joins on the platform. Users were not seeking extremist content. The algorithm identified that content as the next optimal engagement step and delivered it. The users followed the recommendation. They experienced it as a personal choice. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how recommendation algorithm behavioral architecture was designed to replace autonomous preference formation with engineered preference delivery, and why the engineers who built these systems documented the mechanism in internal research. They did not intend to be public. The choice was always the algorithm's. There is a specific metric that every major recommendation system optimizes for: not satisfaction, not accuracy, not the alignment between what a user says they want and what they receive. The metric is watch time or its equivalent in other platforms: dwell time, session length, scroll depth. The metric measures how long a user stays inside the system, and the behavioral architecture of every major recommendation algorithm is built to maximize that number above all others. This is documented. Netflix published a paper in 2016 describing their recommendation system as optimizing for hours of viewing per member per month. YouTube's 2016 recommendation paper published by engineers at Google describes the system as optimizing for watch time as a proxy for user satisfaction. Spotify's recommendation architecture optimizes for session length. TikTok's For You page algorithm, described in internal documents reviewed by multiple journalists, optimizes for completion rate, the percentage of each video a user watches before moving to the next. None of these metrics measure what the user wanted when they opened the application. They measure how successfully the system captured the user's attention and held it. The optimization target is not preference fulfillment. It is attention retention. This is the distinction that the standard conversation about algorithms almost never makes. The behavioral consequence is specific and documented. A system optimizing for attention retention does not serve your preferences. It identifies which content modifications will extend your engagement beyond what your stated preferences would have produced, and then delivers those modifications. The content you receive is not a reflection of who you are. It is a behavioral engineering output designed to keep you inside the system longer than you intended to stay. But that is where the standard explanation stops. The behavioral architecture of recommendation systems did not originate in Silicon Valley. It has a documented predecessor in a completely different institutional context, one that the engineers who built modern recommendation systems were aware of, and that appears in the academic literature they cited. The predecessor is the variable ratio reinforcement schedule, a behavioral conditioning mechanism documented by psychologist B. Pfeffer Skinner in laboratory experiments from the 1930s through the 1950s. Skinner demonstrated that the most durable and resistant to extinction behavioral pattern in both animals and humans is produced not by consistent reward delivery, but by unpredictable reward delivery at variable intervals. A subject that receives a reward every time it performs an action will stop performing the action immediately when rewards cease. A subject that receives rewards unpredictably, sometimes after one action, sometimes after 10, never on a predictable schedule, will continue performing the action long after rewards have stopped entirely. The partial insight. This is the behavioral template behind slot machine design, which has been explicitly documented as applying Skinner's variable ratio schedule since the 1970s. The connection between slot machine behavioral architecture and social media feed design was documented in academic literature as early as 2012, and was explicitly referenced by former Google design ethicist Tristan Harris in testimony before the United States Senate Commerce Committee in 2019. New tension. If the behavioral template is this well documented, and if the engineers building these systems were aware of it, the question is not whether the design was intentional. The question is what the system was intentionally designed to replace. If you have noticed a specific moment in your own behavior opening an application without intention, scrolling past the content you came for, Spending time inside a system you did not plan to enter. Describe the specific application and the specific pattern in the comments. We are mapping which systems are most effective at producing unintended engagement across different user categories. The answer to what recommendation architecture was designed to replace is documented in the behavioral science literature that informed its construction. The mechanism it replaces is called autonomous preference formation, the cognitive process through which an individual develops preferences through exposure, reflection, and self-directed exploration over time. Autonomous preference formation is slow. It is inefficient from an engagement optimization standpoint, and it produces preferences that are genuinely the user's own, which means they are finite, satisfiable, and eventually complete. A user with autonomously formed preferences will eventually find what they were looking for and stop. A user whose preference formation process has been replaced by algorithmic preference delivery never reaches completion, because the algorithm's next recommendation is always optimized to extend engagement beyond the current preference state, not to satisfy it. The cognitive framework that replaced autonomous preference formation is what behavioral scientists call exogenous preference shaping, preference modification driven by external systems rather than internal reflection. The distinction is not philosophical. It is measurable in behavioral data, and the companies building recommendation systems have been measuring it and optimizing for it since the beginning. The scale at which this behavioral engineering operates makes it qualitatively different from any previous influence system in human history. Wait, look at the structure again. In 2022, YouTube reported 500 hours of video uploaded to the platform every minute. The recommendation algorithm, not human editorial judgment, not user search, not social sharing, is responsible for more than 70% of the content watched on the platform according to YouTube's own disclosed figures. That means the majority of what 2.7 billion monthly active users watch on YouTube is selected not by the users themselves, but by a behavioral optimization system that has never met them, does not know what they want, and is not optimizing for their satisfaction. That is not a design choice. It is a behavioral decision made at institutional scale. The pattern does not stop at YouTube. The documented figures across major platforms tell the same story. Spotify's recommendation system drives more than 30% of all listening on the platform. Netflix reports that more than 80% of content watched is discovered through its recommendation system rather than through user search. TikTok's For You page, a pure recommendation system with no social graph requirement, accounts for the overwhelming majority of content consumption on the platform for the majority of its users. The aggregate picture is this: for the majority of the time that the majority of people in connected economies spend consuming media, the selection of what they consume is being made by behavioral optimization systems that are explicitly designed to extend engagement beyond what autonomous preference would have produced. This is the point at which the analysis becomes uncomfortable, even for people who consider themselves aware of algorithmic influence. The algorithmic sovereignty operating across these systems is not experienced as external control. It is experienced as personal preference. The user who spends 4 hours on a platform they intended to use for 20 minutes does not experience those 4 hours as engineered. They experience them as chosen. The behavioral architecture is effective precisely because it operates below the threshold of conscious preference awareness. It modifies the preference formation process rather than overriding an already formed preference. By the time a preference is conscious, the algorithm has already shaped the context in which that preference formed. If this investigation is worth continuing, signal it. The algorithm reads that as a vote for independent analysis over institutional content. The cognitive architecture of exogenous preference shaping has one additional property that distinguishes it from all previous influence systems: it learns. Every interaction a user has with the recommendation system provides data that the system uses to refine its model of that user's engagement patterns. The system becomes more effective at extending engagement over time, not because it knows the user better in any meaningful sense, but because it has accumulated more data about which content modifications produce longer sessions for that specific behavioral profile. Here is the lens. Observable. Applicable in the next session you have with any recommendation system. Next time you open any platform with the recommendation feed, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Netflix track not what you consume, but when you intended to stop and when you actually stopped. The gap between those 2 points is the operational window of the behavioral architecture. It is the interval during which the system successfully extended your engagement beyond your autonomous preference. You are not looking at content you chose. You are looking at a sequence of behavioral engineering outputs, each one selected to be just engaging enough to delay the exit decision you had already made. The transition from one piece of content to the next is not random, and it is not your preference driving it. It is a real-time optimization calculation that has been running since the moment you open the application. That is the difference between seeing and observing. The recovery of autonomous preference formation in an environment of pervasive algorithmic recommendation is not a matter of willpower. It is a matter of interface design. The users who most successfully maintain autonomous preference formation in high recommendation environments share one documented behavioral characteristic. They use search rather than feed as their primary navigation mechanism. Search requires the user to formulate a preference before receiving content. Feed delivers content before a preference is formulated, and then measures which content triggers a preference strong enough to produce continued engagement. The cognitive sequence is inverted, and the inversion is the mechanism. The next layer of this investigation maps the specific design decisions documented in internal research from Meta, Google, and ByteDance that were made to maximize the effectiveness of exogenous preference shaping across different user demographic and behavioral profiles. Subscribe to follow the analysis. You are watching this video on a platform whose recommendation system selected it for you from among thousands of alternatives. The question is not whether that selection shaped what you believe about recommendation algorithms. The question is whether that shaping started before this video began.